Hello, welcome to the show. Got a couple of good stories coming up. One of them on North Dakota State's big man Dexter Werner and how he is getting it done for the SDSU basketball team, and one on Logan Power at South Dakota and how things got all emotional between him and his coach when Power learned that he had earned an athletic scholarship at the University of South Dakota. Got those stories coming up, as well as the week in men's and women's basketball. But first, the Denver men's soccer team representing the Summit League in the national semifinals. The Denver video people did a tremendous job following the team on their journey, and here it is to Houston and the College Cup for the Denver men's team.
No, it's good to get to Houston earlier than everyone else, a day earlier. Everyone knows what's at stake, so we're excited, and you could kind of feel that on the bus and on the plane today.
Yeah, I think it's just business as usual. Obviously, the stakes are a little bit higher coming into the College Cup, but we approach it the same way we've approached every game this season, and I think that's what makes us special, is that every game we know we're going to bring our positive, proactive fighting football.
Remember, champions are made not on the day.
First thing that I always visualize is that we just scored a goal, or the whistle was just blown for the 90th minute, that we just won. That always helps me set my mindset the best. It helps me stay positive no matter what adversity that we face during the game. I always look forward to the end, because I can always see that we're going to come out on top.
Top, this comes Denver with a chance to tie it safe. Farrell, the rebound's knocked in. It's all tied up.
Well, the loss in the semis was the first loss of the year for Denver. The Pioneers end the season 21-3. And Stanford went on to beat Wake Forest for the national title in men's soccer. The week in women's basketball coming up next. An injury to the Summit League Preseason Player of the Year could really shake things up. We'll talk about it with Brad Newitt coming up.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn.
Welcome back. Joined by our basketball guy, Brad Newitt now. And the Summer League basketball season league games start 2 weeks from now. First game's on December 28th. And awful news this week for the women's team at South Dakota State. Summer League Preseason Player of the Year, Macy Miller, goes down with a knee injury. Not sure the extent of it yet, but did not look good.
Yeah, it did not look good when it happened, and if she is out for an extended period of time or even possibly for the season, this is going to be a huge blow to South Dakota State, obviously. Preseason Player of the Year in the Summit League, first team All-Summit League selection last year, and their leading scorer.
As of Tuesday this week, anyway, there was no official word on the injury. She was going to travel with the team to Louisville for SDSU's game there on Wednesday. If it is season-ending, Miller would meet the criteria to apply for a medical red shirt and would have 2 years remaining to play if that is granted. And again, if that is the case. But Lexi Alexander steps in as the starting point guard now for South Dakota State. That means changes on the bench rotation, which the bench was not all that deep to begin with.
Yeah.
How does this affect the Jackrabbits?
Well, first of all, you're losing your go-to player offensively if Miller cannot rejoin this team. And even, in her absence, they're going to have to figure out in the short term how to deal with that. And things didn't go well, in their 2 games without her. She got hurt for one of them, and then she missed all the George Washington game. This team shot below 30% in that Green Bay loss. Just barely got over 30% in their George Washington win. So offensively, they got to find some traction without Miller on the floor. And I think that, for me, that means getting everybody else involved in a higher way, shooting at a higher percentage than they did. Getting inside touches, I think Clarissa Ober and Ellie Thompson become big for this team, scoring around the basket.
Yeah, still a really good starting 5, even without Macy Miller, but we'll see what happens with her in the next couple of days. Better news for other teams elsewhere. South Dakota is 8-2 right now. Newitt sophomore Allison Arns is tearing it up, 2nd in the league in scoring. She is 1st in the league in field goal percentage right now.
Yeah, she is just having a breakout season. This is a player that averaged just under 4 points a game last year. She's averaging 20 right now. She's shooting over 50% from the three-point line. I don't see that continuing for an entire season, but what a great start she's had. This whole USD team, to me, has been the surprise team in the Summit League.
Yeah, another sophomore for USD is one of the Summit League Players of the Week. J.C. Bradley made 6 threes, had 23 points in the Coyotes' win over Illinois.
And if they get Bradley and Arns shooting the basketball at the high level that they are, they're going to be a fabulous 1-2 combo on the perimeter. Very tough for teams to have to scheme against defensively.
South Dakota's second Summit League game is on New Year's Eve day on the 31st at South Dakota State. That's going to be a great game, great test for both those teams early on. IUPUI will host Western Illinois on December 31st to start Summit League play. That will be the highest scoring team in the league in Western Illinois against the team giving up the fewest points in the league, the Jaguars at IUPUI right now. Defense, and they're very good at it, IUPUI.
Yeah, IUPUI is very good at forcing turnovers. The one thing they've got to get better at is taking care of the basketball themselves. That's what's hurt them of late in their losses, is them coughing up the basketball too much. But that is going to be a great clash, that early match there between 2 teams that are very good on opposite ends of the floor. I'm very intrigued to see, how does Western Illinois handle things when they get into Summit League play?
All right, Emily Clemens is the other Summit League Women's Player of the Week. Averaged 23 points and 9 assists in 3 wins for Western Illinois. Clemens at just over 20 points a game right now. That is the Summit League leader. Western is 7-3 right now. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of start they get off to once they get into Summit League play.
I think so. They, as you look at their non-conference schedule, have not played probably as strong a non-conference schedule as some of the other teams. And some of their numbers inflated by some non-Division I wins, but there's no doubt that this Western Illinois team can score. If that continues in Summit League play, watch out.
All right, and North Dakota State, 1-9 right now, but Taylor Thunstead for the Bison is playing very well.
She is one of the best players in the Summit League. Just right now, a lot of young players around her, Tom, and those young players have got to start growing up if this team's going to get some traction.
Thunstead at 16 points a game. She's making 3.8 three-pointers per game right now. That is tops in the Summit League. The Bison have a couple of games in Texas early next week, and then they will open the Summit League season at home against South Dakota State on that opening weekend. We got men's hoops coming up next. Some high-flying fun with our guys at Omaha. They put up 97 points in their latest win, but the Mavs are not even the highest-scoring team in the Summit League right now. Back with Brad Newitt, and let's get to men's basketball. Newitt, and start with those fun-loving guys in Omaha. We love these guys. A 97-91 win over Montana State on Saturday, and a huge game for Marcus Tyus for Omaha in this game.
Well, Omaha just seems like they have different guys stepping up with huge games offensively each week. This week it's Tyus. Last week it was Thurman. We know Tradeon Hollins can also score for this team, and it don't seem like they've missed a beat, even though they lost some seniors last year as far as scoring the basketball. 37 points in that game for Marcus Tyus, 25 for Trayshawn Thurman, 8 assists in that game for Tradeon Hollins for Omaha, and their points per possession
Your favorite stat
Yeah.
was 1.35 in this win over Montana State. That's
That
pretty
is
good.
off the charts. Anything over a 1 is very good. You get into the 1.2 range, that's exceptional. 1.35, one of the best I've seen in a game. And one of the reasons, Tom, Omaha is great this year at getting to the foul line. They lead the Summit League in free throw attempts, and so they're getting a lot of baskets there, which means they're being very aggressive attacking the basket, not settling for those jump
I
shots.
think they had 34 free throw attempts in that win over Montana State. Omaha plays at Kansas City on Thursday. UMKC has already played South Dakota and South Dakota State. Maybe a little measuring stick once they get past Omaha to see where these teams stand.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of score comparison, but it's kind of fun, right?
It is, and you got a common opponent in one that everyone's pretty familiar with too, so I think that'll be a good way to see where Omaha lies.
All right, Omaha averaging 82 points a game right now. That's barely in the top 50. Come on, guys. We expect more out of you. Fort Wayne, though, is scoring 88 points a game right now. That is top 10 in the country. And Fort Wayne has beaten Austin Peay out of the Ohio Valley Conference twice now. They beat them 103-99 the first time around, and then beat them by 40 this past Saturday.
Well, Fort Wayne not only scoring at a high level, but they're doing it very efficiently. They're shooting over 50%. That's best in the Summit League. Over 40% from the three-point line. So these guys are really getting good quality looks, and we know that this is a talented group that John Kaufman has.
Mo Evans, 18 points a game right now. Bryson Scott at about 16 points a game for Fort Wayne. John Conchar had 14 points, 10 rebounds in that win over Austin Peay. What are the odds that John Conchar will lead the Summit League in rebounding again this year?
I think it's a possibility. I think there's a couple other good rebounders out there he's going to have to contest with that are going to be playing big minutes for their team, so that's going to be something he'll have to. That'll be a great rebounding race, though.
All right, Conchar is third right now behind Mike Dahm at South Dakota State and Emmanuel Nezakwezi at Oral Roberts. And speaking of Dahm, another career high for him. He's done it twice already this year. 33 points in the Jackrabbits' home win over Idaho. Is South Dakota State starting to figure it out a little bit?
You think it's kind of one step forward, one step back at times. They did not play well on the road at Northern Iowa. I think the big thing for me for South Dakota State is I want to see them go on the road and put up a good fight and show that they can play at the level they've been playing with on their home floor. Certainly offensively, it seems like this team's starting to click when they're in Frost Arena, where they've won 32 games in a row, but on the road that hasn't been there.
All right, how about Denver? Denver 4-5 right now. They got a win at Air Force on Saturday and a career-high 33 points for Daniel Amigo. That is the most by a Denver player in the last 5 years.
Well, Denver playing at a different pace this year offensively, a little bit more up-tempo, and they're shooting at a very good percentage too. They're 48% from the field, so they're getting good looks, and a lot of that is getting Amigo involved in this offense, Tom, because he's a good post player. They're getting shots around the basket with him.
He made 14 out of 18 shots in that win over Air Force. And speaking of putting the ball in the basket, how about Dexter Werner at North Dakota State? The Bison lost at home by 18 to North Dakota. It was an off game for the Bison in that one, but Dexter had a huge game.
Yeah, 12 of 13 from the field in that game for Werner. Unfortunately, his teammates just shoot 27% if you take his shots out of the game, including 1 of 20, Tom, from 3. It was kind of a disaster for NDSU, but they get a second chance here coming up pretty quick.
NDSU gets UND again this Friday coming up in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And we've got more on Dexter Werner coming up next. We will go one-on-one with the Bison big man to find out some of his scoring secrets. Welcome back. Dexter Werner at North Dakota State is the Summit League Men's Basketball Player of the Week. He had 30 points, 13 rebounds in a game against North Dakota. He made 12 of 13 shots in that game, and he leads the league in field goal percentage right now at just under 69%. Here is a little peek at how he gets it done as Werner goes one-on-one with Brian Shawn in Fargo.
All right, welcome to another edition of One-on-One. We are joined by Dexter Werner, senior from Bismarck, on the Bison men's basketball team. Dexter, it's been a quick ride for you. I mean, I know you redshirted, but it's hard to believe you're already senior. To go fast for you?
Slow and quick at the same time. It's a weird, it's definitely a weird feeling, but yeah, to see it coming to an end is kind of a weird feeling for sure.
When you first came here, I know Dexter, a lot of people are wondering, gosh, he's not very tall. You know, is he going to be able to play at the Division I level? I know in your mind you always believed you could, but was it almost good to have a lot of people wondering if this was going to be a good fit for you or not?
You know, I think I've always kind of tried to play with a little chip on my shoulder. You know, I play hard, and I'm not like a finesse skill set guy. You know, I just try to outplay my opponent. So to kind of have edge and had people say that I couldn't do it. I guess that's just some more fuel to the fire.
I know it, like you look, me and you're not the biggest 5 guy in the world. You have guys that are 4, 5, 6 inches taller than you got to play against, but you have these enormously long arms. When you put up your arm, you can see just how long your arms actually are. You have like the wingspan of like a 7-footer. Do some big guys underestimate your length because of that?
I mean, I would say combination of the length and the athleticism. You know, just if you come in the gym, you're probably not going to pick me out as one of the more athletic guys, and that's fine because then that probably works to my advantage in the first few minutes of the game.
So now a lot of times you will go inside, but you're also a guy that sometimes you'll go outside and start out here on the block, 16, 18 feet away, and big guys trying to guard you. You're kind of a tough matchup because you can handle the ball a little bit and do some of those things. What are your favorite things to do when you get a bigger guy that maybe doesn't quite have the foot speed you have?
I mean, I'd say anything. You know, I'm probably a little more comfortable off the block even because then I'm squaring up, and then like you said, I would take my speed over most 5 guys. So for me to be able to get out and have a little more space, I like that better because then I got more room to work with and I can use some of my unique skills that a lot of 5s don't have.
Let's put a move on me. What do you like to do when you get in there with big guys?
I mean, spin, go around them, or the classic Gonzaga, do the spin, step on
their foot,
step on the foot, fall away, and somehow still throw it in there. But
is that something that you actually do?
No, that was totally an accident. But
it worked.
Yeah, but no, like I said, usually trying to get around somebody that that gives me more room because obviously with some bigger guys, if I'm finishing over top, that's a lot tougher. So to be able to get around some guys and have some more space, that's usually where that works out better for me.
All right, I'm guarding you. Let's go.
So we're going right here?
We're going right here.
All right, so then usually, you gotta look. Hopefully double's coming, hopefully not though.
Okay.
Then usually going middle. And then usually lean back a little bit. Oh, okay. All right.
I'm not gonna give it to you that easy.
That's fine. But yeah, like I said, I like going middle, get a little bit more of the room, get the lean back. And then shoot.
See, it must have been my defense. No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, you stifled me.
But there's times too that you'll step back to Dexter and you'll get him up in the air, and that's when you start using your footwork to go around a little bit too. And that's where I think getting those guys off balance, not quite sure what you're going to do, plays a big difference, right?
Yeah.
Now, I know you're a business major. I know you would like to try to look to play after your college experience is done, but ultimately, professionally, what can you see yourself doing? What are some things that interest you?
I've always had an interest in technology and just like the business world. I feel like there's different. So like if you go to school to be a teacher, like you're going to teach, right? Or you go to, if you're going to dentistry, you're going to be a dentist. So to kind of go into that business world where like there's just so many opportunities, I'm really excited about that because, I don't have like that I really want to do this job. Like there's so many different chances that I'll have with that business degree. So I'm excited to see what works out with that.
All right, that's Dexter Werner, one-on-one.
Well, another great story coming up. Next, an emotional scholarship surprise for a deserving young men's basketball player at the University of South Dakota.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn.
Well, every great team has got to have great team players, and Logan Power at the University of South Dakota is an ideal teammate in a lot of ways. He was a walk-on, but has since earned a scholarship, and he found out in kind of a unique way. Here's Kelly Stewart in Vermilion.
Many of us have seen videos on TV or social media showing coaches awarding walk-ons with scholarships. They're the kind of videos that tug at the heartstrings a bit. Who doesn't love to see an athlete earn something they've worked so hard for? This past summer on the men's basketball team trip to Spain, those emotions hit a little closer to home.
3 things. Our guys, and seeing them hang out and seeing the growth and development with those guys, and I know it's been overstated maybe a little bit, but and then 2, just the relationships, being able to be with my wife and the people that were closest that way. And then probably the biggest highlight for me will be the fact that Logan Powers just earned a scholarship today. And
every single day you go to practice and you're working towards one certain goal, and then to have that goal realized, I didn't know what to think. I was in shock. I've seen the videos all over, and I always thought if that was me, I would know that it was coming. and I had no idea. And so that's what made it a lot cooler for me, I guess.
It had been a long time coming. A 2014 graduate of Lincoln Christian High School in Nebraska, Power knew he wanted to play for the Coyotes, even if it meant paying his own way.
When we sat down with his mom and dad and him on his visit, of course the scholarship thing came up, and we just, we didn't promise him anything except for an opportunity.
That opportunity was all he needed.
When you fast forward 2 years, he goes through a redshirt year and then plays sparingly at the end of last year. It's so enjoyable, so rewarding as a coach to see a guy put in all those hours, not only with the team, but on his own. Many times I've walked in the gym and he's in there working out by himself. And for him to finally earn that scholarship, it was never handed to him, it was never promised, it was never, by your senior year. It was always like a chip in a chair. And he truly believed in himself enough that he was going to go out and earn it.
And though Power hasn't seen a ton of playing time this year, his work ethic hasn't changed one bit since earning the scholarship.
Yeah, Logan's a stud, and he just gets it. He's the kind of person that you want your son to grow up to be like. I mean, I've coached for 21 years, and when you coach that long, you see it all. And it's very hard to think back over those 21 years to a guy that clearly works harder than Logan.
Well, Power and the Yotes are out on the West Coast for 3 games in the next week or so, including one at Gonzaga on the 21st of December. And we will see you next time on Inside the Summit League.